This is a very simple recipe. The only cooking we're going to do is just roasting the tomatoes and maybe roasting the sesame seeds. I've just taken 5 ripe tomatoes and I've lined a baking sheet with aluminum foil and I've washed the tomatoes. I'm just going to bake this in the toaster oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. And I will show you what it looks like after 15 minutes when they're done. Here I have a pan going on high heat. I've added 1/4 of a cup of sesame seeds, white sesame seeds. I'm just gonna keep stirring this. If you have roasted sesame seeds, you don't need to do this step. I'm just roasting it at home. And you're just gonna keep stirring this. You don't wanna, leave this for too long because this is a pretty quick process. And this can get burned pretty quickly. So I can start smelling the fragrant smell of the sesame seeds already. So this is just about done. And I can see that the color is getting a little bit brown. So I'm just going to take this off the heat and just leave it in the pan and for it to cool down a little bit. And this is done. This is pretty much it. So I've just taken the tomatoes out of the oven after 15 minutes. They had been going at 425 Fahrenheit. You can see that the outside skin is starting to crack a little bit and there's a little bit of moisture oozing out. Things are starting to get a little bit brown. At this point, I'm going to put this back in the oven and put it on broil for about 5 to 10 minutes. So I ended up broiling this at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for the full 10 minutes, and this is what it looks like. The skin, you can see, peels off pretty easily. It's quite brown. We don't need to peel off the skin. We're just going to blend everything. I'm just going to let this cool before we actually put this in the blender and start making the chutney. So I'm gonna just pulse the toasted sesame seeds here, just so we don't get chunks of the sesame seeds in the chutney. Now we're gonna add the 5 roasted tomatoes. Get the juice in there as well. Next we'll add about a teaspoon of kala namak. You may know that as Himalayan salt or pink salt. Next we add just a pinch of black pepper. Next we're going to add about half a teaspoon of timur. It's called Szechuan pepper. I think there's a Chinese version. If you don't have that, skip that, I guess. But I got this from Nepal. I'm not sure if we can get this in the Indian store. Next I'm adding the juice of 1 medium-sized lemon. I'm adding 1 long green chili. If you don't like spicy, just skip that. And finally, I'm adding 1/4 of a cup of roasted peanuts. You can also add paprika or other spices if you like. So if you like things a little bit spicy, we're just gonna close things up and blend this into a smooth chutney. So this is what it's looking like. You just want to make sure, sometimes things stick to the side. I have a square blender, so sometimes things stick to the side. So just to be sure, mix everything together in the sides and in the bottom. And I'm gonna give this another blend. So this is what it looks like. It has a very smooth consistency. As you can see, you just make sure that the sesame seeds are well mixed in. So at this point everything is very well mixed in, and this is pretty much our chutney. Before you take it out of the blender and before you serve, just give it a taste, and if you need to adjust any of the spices, do that. I ended up adding just about half a teaspoon of salt, regular salt. The kala namak tends to be a little bit less salty, so I'm just going to add that and give that a final mix. And there you go. There you have it. I hope you found this recipe useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time with another great recipe. Thanks for watching.